Hey, what's up, witches? I've actually been putting this video off for a while now, and I'm not really sure why, probably for a mix of different reasons. Because the idea is to do a get ready with me while I play with some makeup and do some Freya Glamour magic, because I've been wanting to film parts 2 and 3 of Freya and Brisingamen for a while now, since I made the first part, but for some reason I just have not had like the energy or wherewithal to sit, do my makeup, and like put on an outfit and a wig and sit down and do it. So I figured I would incorporate it as part of a get ready with me, like chit-chat overall vlog. I'll get ready, do some makeup, chit-chat about what I've been up to lately, and throw in some footage and just talk about like what I've been into. So I wanted this video to be kind of an intro to fall and spooky season video as well, so maybe the timing ended up being just right, because the weather finally flipped yesterday into fall mode. I actually went with my husband to a little like Halloween party this past weekend, and it was unseasonably warm. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, like I said, especially since I usually associate Freya more with summer and the warmer months of the year, and like I said, now we're kind of full on into spooky season. It was unseasonably warm this weekend. The cold front finally came through to bring the fall weather that I've been waiting for, and as a result, I did finally cave in and turn on my heat this morning. We're halfway through October and fall is finally officially made it to Kornheim. But I've actually been, I'm pretty sure, having dreams about doing makeup the last 2 nights, and been feeling like I've been kind of neglecting my Freya altar and giving her some attention lately. So what better way to honor her a bit than by dressing up like her and doing a little Freya makeup glamour magic. I actually did manage to get a little vacation in last month at the beginning of September now. So yeah, about a month ago as of the time that I'm finally filming this, but we went to one of our favorite places and did some glamping. I'm usually like all about camping really if the weather's right and it's not too hot, but we went down to one of our favorite places down in the Ozarks, did a little glamping, which was nice. We got all the benefits of camping with still an actual bed. And like somehow like the weather ended up actually being really nice while we were down there. I was a little worried because I know that with it just being a little bit further south and thanks global warming, that even in September it might be a little warm. But thankfully we got just like this really nice little preview of fall weather where it was warm during the day, but then it cooled down to like the 50s, but it would cool down to like the 60s and 50s at night still. So it did have a little space heater and somehow air conditioning in this canvas tent if we had needed it, but it did have fans, and as long as the fans were running at night, it was like just that perfect peak camping weather feeling. Like I think the thing that I love most about tent camping is just that nice crisp fall feeling in the morning when you wake up and it's just a little bit brisk and a little bit chill, but you're nice and warm and snuggled up in your sleeping bag. And so we still got to experience that with all the luxury of having a real bed and a real shower and a bathroom to use. But I was still getting like all these signs and intrusions from some of my deities. Like the Loki spiders were definitely out in force. There was a huge daddy long legs in the bathroom who was just camped out there the entire time watching you every time you went in there, and he was actually, I think, missing a leg, which was kind of cute, but he was a big one and he kind of spooked me, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Loki definitely still made his presence known with spiders during that trip. We also got to see some deer on the property, and they were apparently like very used to people being around because we walked right by them while they were just grazing and eating their grass, just a couple of does, and They gave 0 fucks. Pretty sure if I had had some crackers, like the deer park that we went to in the Dells, that I would have been able to just like feed some of these wild deer, which probably is not advised. So we kept our distance, kept our polite and respectful distance, very demure, very mindful. I think what I'm actually gonna do now is layer some cream blush underneath the cushion foundation. Because I am so fair, I often worry about putting on a little too much blush, which you kind of have to do for filming because depending on the lighting and the camera, it might wash you out a bit. So I'm going for, you know, full Freya fairy glamour magic today, so we're gonna pack it on a bit and then buff it out a bit. And then put more foundation, more cushion foundation over the top. Because right now it's a lot, I know. So yeah, that vacation was really enjoyable. Aside from the deer, we were right on a lake, and it had a little like beach that you could go swim in the lake, which was a little too chilly and a little too murky for me, if I'm being honest. But I at least wanted to go down there and dip my toes in the water and say hi to Njord, since it's probably like the biggest, one of the larger inland bodies of water that I could probably have access to outside of the Great Lakes where I'm at. So I wanted to go say hi to Njord, and right as we did so, right as I sat down on the little concrete dock or pier and put my toes in the water, we saw 2 huge herons take off from the boat ramp nearby and fly overhead. So, and herons, I just personally have always associated with Njord. So that was just kind of like a little here's your sign moment. It's always really cool and fun and comforting, profound, you know, whenever you do take those little moments out of your day to just stop and take in everything around you, have those moments with nature, those moments with deity, and just get those little signs and acknowledgements that it's reciprocal and that you were seen and heard in that moment. So yeah, as you can see, we've pretty much covered up most of that blush. You can't really hardly see it showing through anymore now, so I think that should be all I need. I usually have a pretty light touch. I think I actually got this on like Temu or Amazon, or we actually got this on like Temu or Amazon or some shit, so it's actually not bad. Very nice, light, dewy little cushion foundation. It works for me, so go back in with some concealer. So yeah, that was just a nice little break. We got a little preview of some fall weather while we were there. We got to do some hiking, and they actually had little grottos there and like trout fishing ponds. They had trout and you can fish for them. So before we left, I went up to one of the trout fishing ponds. It was like a little, almost like a little salmon weir, but a trout weir that they had built for the trout to collect in, where you could fish for them. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna pat a trout. So I like stuck my finger in where they were all gathering at one little corner of the pond, and just kind of stuck my finger in and waited for one to casually swim past so I could touch it. And I was like, oh, I pet it. It was a bit of a drive, you know, like 5-6 hour drive on the way down. Got to stop at a Buc-ee's for the first time, which I had never been to one before, so that's a whole experience in and of itself. And then on the way down, I made my husband listen to the Sabriel audiobook because I love that series by Garth Nix. I read it when I was a young adult, and it's just a really great young adult series that I would rank up there with his Dark Materials. And it is just peak spooky season vibes if you're into something like that, with a strong female main character heroine with a little bit of spooky magic and fantasy mixed in. And shout out to Daniel Green, who I know is never going to watch this, but I've been wanting to go back and reread the series anyway, just because it's one of my favorites and it's still really good and holds up well, and it, like I said, it's just peak spooky season vibes. So I'd been wanting to go back and reread it anyway, and then I was watching a Daniel Green video about it where he let me know that the audiobook is actually narrated by the illustrious Tim Curry. Yes, you heard that right. So I immediately went to Audible and downloaded that. So we listened to that on the way down, which was really good. And I could tell, like, normally my husband kind of checks out when I play fantasy audiobooks on long car rides, but he was actually, like, really getting into this one as well. So definitely check that out. I highly recommend the entire series, but yeah, listen to the first one with Tim Curry, and I'm really picky about my audiobook narrators, and I think he did a really good job, especially when it's like male narrators trying to do female voices. I'm very picky about that. I mean, it's Tim Curry, so you can really do no wrong there. But also, speaking of spooky season, what I'm going to do, I think, for this look today is use my pumpkin spice palette. And I'm thinking of green and gold look today to match the outfit I'm gonna wear in the video, the Freya video. So I think first I'm gonna go in with my ColourPop Midnight Masquerade Disney Princess palette, which is one of my favorites. I just really like the versatility of the colors in this one. But also, I mean, it was Disney Princess Eleganza Extravaganza, so what's not to like? But also, speaking of spooky season things, this is also my favorite time of year to just like go do fun little local fall activities, because I am a basic fall bitch. So I love a harvest festival, I love an Oktoberfest, I love a pumpkin picking farm, all of that stuff. Pumpkin spice, you know that's what's in here right now. I'm here for all of it. So we went to a little local like heritage festival lately that was celebrating a property just outside of town that had a 200-year-old carriage house in. It was like a little way stop for carriage riders and like Pony Express Wells Fargo wagon and just people who needed a place to bunk for the night. And I was like, okay, first off, let's go check it out just to see how haunted it is, because if I hear a 200-year-old building, that's honestly my first thought. And you know, they usually have things like blacksmithing demonstrations and like old-timey crafts demonstrations and like local vendors and things like that, which I also love checking out. I am a sucker for some blacksmithing, let me tell you. That is just fascinating to me. It's like magic and you can't convince me otherwise. So yeah, we went to go check out this festival and the carriage house itself seemed fine. Yeah, you could just tell it was a old building that had a lot of foot traffic come in and out, so it was used to people being there. But the old barn, it was just where they had kind of a museum of just stored old ancient farm equipment. But even though it was like in the 80s that day, as soon as you set foot into this barn, I know it was shady, but it was ice cold in there. It was an above ground wooden barn, but it felt like a cellar in there. And I kind of looked around the things at the front of the building and it went back a little bit like further, but I had to get out of there immediately. The vibes were just off in there. It just felt like every single ghost that lived on the property was all huddled in that barn, hiding from everyone and hiding from the daylight in there. After having recently listened to Sabriel and like, you know, the whole lore in there about the dead and just spirits like that can't abide daylight, they can only come out at night or have to like be indoors or somewhere in the shade. This barn would have been a perfect spot for all the dead to congregate in the daytime, and that's kind of what it felt like they were doing. So immediately had to nope the fuck on out of there. But other than that, it was a fun little time. I was joking when I said I wanted to go just to see how haunted it was, but turns out it was. So here comes the part where I'm going to try to spend an eternity layering on eyeshadows while attempting to stay in frame. So yeah, that was a fun, interesting, if unexpected experience. I haven't really had any encounters myself with full-on apparitions or entities or touring haunted locations or anything like that. I'm just an avid paranormal ghost hunting show watcher and story reader. Like, I can't watch horror movies, but I've loved scary stories and ghost stories since I was a kid. Comment down below what scared you as a kid. I remember when I was in like maybe 4th, 5th grade, I used to go down to the local library all the time because it was close to where we lived. And I was always, reading Goosebumps and the Fear Street Saga. And from there, I would just like find little books of scary stories, ghost encounters and things like that. And there was one time I like checked out a book of ghost stories. It wasn't scary stories to tell in the dark, but it was something similar because it had illustrations. And there was a full-page illustration there, and I don't remember specifically what it was, but it scared me so bad that I had to like close the book, and I never finished it before I had to return it. And it kind of like scared me off of reading scary stories for a little bit after that. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the pumpkin spice. But yes, even though my body is not ready to be cold eternally for the entire winter, I am glad that the fall weather is finally here. We're starting to get, a couple little previews. Yellowy gold shade I'm going in with right now is literally called pumpkin spice. Fitting. Yeah, even though this is kind of the time of year that I start to feel Freya's presence fade, I've been wanting to sit down and film these Brisingamen videos for a while now. So even though it's the time of year when I start to feel the Vanir, a little bit of a backseat, and the Aesir, Odin, and the Wild Hunt emerge to take the forefront. And then I don't know, kind of feeling it hard to find the time and energy to film in general lately. I've just been feeling myself getting sucked back into the work grind and not having a whole lot of energy left to devote to much else at the end of the day. So I might actually, let YouTube take a little bit of a back seat for the dark months this year. Really try to devote more time, like I've been wanting to do lately, to carve out some time for my spiritual practice. Especially when, not gonna lie, I've been feeling a little bit more like discouraged and less interested in my YouTube channel lately. Because it's always just been a kind of a fun side project for me. I still have a full-time job that pays the bills. And I always told myself like I wasn't going to let myself get overwhelmed with it or try to take it too seriously. And then if I wasn't feeling it, if I didn't have the energy, and if I wasn't feeling like filming, I just wasn't going to film. I wasn't going to force it. I'm kind of forcing it today, even though this is something I've been wanting to sit down and film for months. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I've been having literal dreams about putting on makeup the last couple of nights. So yeah, I guess I've been feeling the call, being told it was time. But all I can say is there is definitely a reason for that adage that comparison is the thief of joy, because it does get a little bit discouraging sometimes. Being 3 years in to being a YouTuber and just seeing steady channel growth, but just not, I guess, the kind of growth that I thought I would be seeing, especially, like I said, if I do compare myself to other similar channels, which I try not to do because I'm trying to just, occupy my own little niche of witchy YouTube over here. And like I said, not put too much pressure on myself to be the perfectionist that I always want to be, and just do my own thing and have fun with it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And if I get engagement and people like what I'm putting out there, then that's great. So I just kind of said, well, yeah, if I'm looking for these things, videos, or if I'm interested in these topics, however niche they may sometimes be, then surely there have to be other people out there are into that. So if even like one other person finds it interesting and appealing, then that's a win in my book. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just thought that I'd have grown a little bit more by now, especially with like the steady pace that I have been putting out videos this whole time. And it does get, you know, just a little bit discouraging when you do put a lot of time and energy into a particular video and it doesn't see the attention that you would like, doesn't get the views that you hoped for. And then you'll see other people put out a video on a similar topic and it does. But I also have told myself that like I didn't want to just keep things like basic here, because I would kind of rate myself as intermediate to advanced on certain subjects. And I feel like a lot of like basic topics of witchcraft and paganism have just been rehashed by so many others time and time again. And there's so much information out there, if that's what you're looking for, that I just kind of, wanted to occupy my little niche of random topics, rabbit holes that I get lost down, such as a 3-part series just on Freya and men. Hello. But that's just the kind of person I am. Once I get into something, I really want to, go down the rabbit hole and explore all avenues, explore it to its depths, go down that road, down that witch's road as far as possible. Let me know if you want me to do a video talking about Agatha all along, and I will. I'm also planning on doing one talking about Ragnarok, or Twilight of the Gods, on Netflix. I was actually really surprised with how much engagement my Wheel of Time TV show review videos got. But yeah, just certain other things that are of interest to me, that hopefully will appeal to others. I did do a very encouraging tarot reading last night though. I hadn't done a personal reading for myself in a long time. So I sat down last night to pull some cards, because I do feel like still very pulled in two directions about like what should I be focusing my time and attention on right now. Should it be advancing in my mundane day-to-day pays the bills career, or should I be putting more focus into witchcraft and marketing that side and trying to kind of turn it into something like a side hustle? Now I'm gonna go in with this super glittery green shade called Fall Vibes, because I am feeling the fall vibes today, finally. Like I said, finally today we're getting the fall weather. I got about 2 or 3 weeks maybe where I didn't have the AC or the heat on. I finally caved in today. There's that autumn chill in the air, so I'm not going for an everyday makeup here today. I'm trying to play around, echo the green and gold color scheme of what I'll be wearing, and just do some glamour magic. But yeah, I did some encouraging tarot pulls last night. Just kind of encouraged me. You might be torn in 2 directions right now, but just maintain that balance. Focus on finding those ways to find a creative, productive outlet for your creativity and your passions, things like that. So yeah, if I do end up taking a little bit of a back seat from YouTube videos the next month or 2 to go into full hibernation mode and just focus on developing my practice, seeing, what I can do. I'm gonna look for something a little more gold. Let's go with this little liquid thing. But I guess that is kind of the nice thing about having your own YouTube channel and being able to do whatever you want on it, because if I'm not feeling like making like a super in-depth research heavy video, I can do something like this, like a fun little casual get ready with me, and then like doing this part to do the makeup will help get me hyped up to film the sit down Freya video that I'm gonna get ready to do. It can just be a lot of prep work and planning for things like that sometimes, which I think makes my little ADD brain feel a bit overwhelmed. Talk about things that I've been obsessing over lately, like Sabriel and anime. Who's been watching Jujutsu Kaisen? That's my current obsession. Look at me, Pushy Girl. Let me tell you guys, like, I've been a weeb since, I was watching Sailor Moon in elementary school, but yeah, I was a weeb in high school, still kind of am, and I have not been into a current, like, modern day anime like I have in a long time, until Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, the way that this just came along and proceeded to have a vice grip on my brain, and we had to binge watch all 2 seasons, and now I have to go read the manga because I have to know what happens. Because the way that it just goes no holds barred, balls to the wall, with both the fighting and the feels, I was not ready. My other favorite one, of course, is Freya Beyond Journey's End, because, you know, like, cute elf girl, high fantasy, but it's also very like fantasy slice of life. Like, it doesn't go nearly as hard as JJK. There's still some battles, but they're pretty straightforward. It's not like the point of the show. It's very much just like Freya's journey, and the real treasure is the friends we made along the way. But I'm kind of here for that, and the animation is just stunning. So yeah, those are my top 2 current anime obsessions, but like even Freya. That and Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon. I love that. I'm so hyped and ready for season 2. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm not gonna read the manga because I don't want spoilers of like what happens with the dungeon, even though I really want to know what's going on with the dungeon. Also, for some reason, I keep getting the song I'll Play Spell on You stuck in my head, but mixed with Jim Morrison singing Love Her Madly. Can anyone tell me why that's happening? I should really just start doing more tarot on the channel again too. It's like one of my least popular video formats that I make, and I get why, because there's such a plethora of card readers out there to pick and choose from. But they're fun for me, and I really would like to hone my skills. Been doing tarot for myself for probably a good 20 years now, so I definitely have experience, and it might be something that I wouldn't mind getting out and doing for other people more, offering as a service, which it is over on my Buy Me a Coffee page as part of my extras. You can get a personal reading from me, and if you're a member, you get a discount. So that is something I do offer over there. I just don't talk about it or promote it really, which maybe I should more. Maybe I just need to start, putting myself out there more, promoting myself more. If you build it, they will come type thing. 'Cause I just have been kind of feeling like I'm in the middle of a bit of a YouTube identity crisis, if you will. Because I could just do easy videos. Well, not easy. Because even this, I've been putting off so long because, it does require work. Gotta do the makeup, put the time and effort in. But I don't know. I just want to overall keep this something that I enjoy. But I know that if I want to see it grow and possibly, take off into something more, whether that be just something more popular and or something more lucrative in the long run. Maybe just getting monetized, that would be nice, This is a fun little side project, but if it could be a little informal side hustle, that necessarily be a bad thing, right? Pretty much out of things to talk about. I legit had to have a little like bullet point list next to me so that I would remember to stay on topic and just touch on the things that I wanted to touch on. Which is probably a good thing because, yeah, now it's been like a whole month since I went on that vacation, so I don't know if I would have remembered everything I wanted to talk about. And for the lip, I think I'm just gonna go in with this Romand Milk Tea Velvet Tint. Alright, I think that about does it. The lashes be lashing. I do love this like blur fudge tint because it does like just blur out so easily and smudge with just using your finger without being too messy, and it's still very moisturizing. It doesn't feel too dry, so I love that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this one here, and then I will see you in the next video for the full Freya transformation. Until then, stay classy, pagan.